Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests and hosts of this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the company or the show itself.
Hello, Explora bookworms. Welcome again to the program Explora Talks, where we explore yet another book and dive deep into another story of one of our authors here at Explora Books. And today I'm very excited to introduce to you a book and another author who has written such a wonderful masterpiece. This is very raw, unfiltered. It's a little dramatic, but for a lot of people, for sure, they're gonna be amused and will be surely having fun reading this book because it's full of humor and getting the positive experience out from a negative experience, if you know what I mean. So please welcome, ladies and gents, to Explora Talks, Miss Janie Jurkovich. Hello, Janie. Welcome to Explora Talks.
Hi. Thank you, Joel. I'm happy to be here.
We're so excited and happy at the same time. Janie, you've written a lot of books, and we're just going to have this interview to inform everyone about your books, the existing ones that are currently on Amazon. And of course, we're very much excited about the book 4 of the series Single and 60. This is the book that you've written. Tell us about your background, Janie, before anything else. Single and 60, I'm sure this pertains to you and your experience being 60 and single and happy. And as I see you, you look very beautiful still at 60. You look younger than your age. So tell us about the background that you have and what is its connection to the book that you've written.
Okay. So actually, thank you for those kind compliments because now I'm in my 70s. So
Wow.
what happened was when I was 60, my husband, and we'd been married like 35 years, and he left unexpectedly. And it was kind of a wake-up call for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to figure out a way to start living a better life because I wasn't having much fun and I was a workaholic. So what I had done prior to that was I had been a military wife and traveled around all over the world with him. And then back in my hometown after he retired, I began working as a property manager and then a construction a contractor. I got a builder's license, and then I became a real estate broker. And that's what I was doing when he left. And so for those that don't know, a real estate broker, yeah, that sounds great, good, but that means it's all commission. So I was quite unsettled when he left because of, after all the moving around in the military and not really having a home, I mean, we had places to live, but it didn't ever feel like home because you knew you were going to have to move again. I had finally, after he retired and we were in my hometown, I built my dream home. And so I was quite happy with that. And it was a lot of work. And I could not imagine having to start over, building another house. And if I sold it, I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, that's not feasible. And I really wanted to stay. So I set about a quest not only to keep my house, but to keep my sanity and not work myself to death. Because literally I was a workaholic. I was doing 3 jobs and it was just too much. So I started working on me because I knew I couldn't do anything about my ex. I mean, he was clearly unhappy and it didn't matter how many jobs I had outside the home and how many tasks I did inside the home. He was still grumpy. He just kind of turned into a grumpy old man. And so it was like, I can't fix that. And that's his job to figure it out. But I don't want to live the rest of my life like this, like always working and not having fun. I mean, not even going to the movies or out to eat, let alone doing travel, because I love travel.
Yeah.
And, learning and growing and that sort of thing. So I started reading a book which was kind of unusual because I never would spend time to read a book because unless it was work related, who has time for that, right?
Yeah,
so I started reading a book just for me, and it kind of set my day in motion where I was calmer, and it got me to quit having the to-do list ruminating in my head and just learning how to be quiet. And of course, I still listen to podcasts, and I did read self-help books about, things that would help you get your life in order. But eventually, if I had what I call quiet time, I guess it's meditating, but I didn't sit on the floor and go or anything like that. I just it's just a stillness in your mind. And then the answers started coming to me, like problems that I was having at home, ways to solve them. And my big problem was, how do I live the life that I've imagined? So I got that information, like the 30 different things that I need to do. And they are basic things that we all know, but nobody's doing them, at least not on a regular basis. And some of the things I was surprised were so important that I didn't realize, like getting enough sleep. Usually when your children are young or you're in your working years, you just have so much to do. You think sleep can wait, but actually sleep is like one of the most important things.
It's elusive.
But anyway, so I got quiet and I found out what the things were to reshape my life. And so my first book was on that, Live the Life You Have Imagined. And then we did a journal to help you track your progress on it. Because sometimes we don't realize how far we've come unless you look back and kind of measure it. And then that brings me to the next book, Single and 60, which is actually about my story, about what it was like to suddenly be single at age 60 and how to, keep my sanity and keep my sense of humor and, maintain my lifestyle and in fact improve my lifestyle. So that's what that book's about. And it's supposed to be humorous but inspirational, so people can kind of go, wow, she's really trying hard, and look, she had these things happen to her and she just got back up and kept going. And there's incidents in there, because I live on 5 acres where, I was trying to fix everything, like the tires on the golf cart would go flat. We didn't use it to play golf. We used it to do weeding on 5 acres, so you don't have to carry around the tools. And then I'd have to fix sprinklers and other things like that, and catch squirrels and just a myriad of things. So it's kind of comical, because I was really determined. In fact, I want to tell anybody listening that at one time there was so many things breaking at the house, like the dryer and the problems with the squirrels and all these things. And I remember sitting in the car in the garage and screaming out loud to God, saying, if you're tell me I need a man, I'm not giving in, because I don't want, to me, it's not about, well, if you get a man, then he can fix everything. Actually, it's quite the opposite, because it complicates your life and it gives you a boatload more work. So unless they're a real partner, you're kind of, you're just getting another child, right? So I don't want people to think that the story is about finding another man and then just replacing him and then life's hunky-dory, because that's not what it's about. It's about doing the inner work and realizing that you are a lot stronger than you think, and that it's okay to ask for help. Ask your neighbors if there's something you don't know how to do, like change tires, catch squirrels, or ask friends in networking groups, about finances, or getting advice from them about wills and getting a divorce and paperwork and stuff. And that it's okay to ask for help. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're smart, because you don't know how to do it. So ask people. So that's the intent of the book, to kind of show you, if this is somebody that thought their life was over when they were 60 and they got a whole new life, not by choice, that you can make something of it. So fast forward to now, because that was about 11 years ago when he left. So I did figure out how to get out of the boatload of debt we had, and I did figure out how to get the house in my name, and I'm keeping up on it. It's not overgrown and all that. It looks really good. And so I've got my life in order.
Mhm.
And I finally started dating again. And so now I have a
Wow.
boyfriend
Wow.
and I get to do traveling. I traveled quite extensively when I was single, but now we travel together because that's was kind of a requirement for me. I don't want to be with somebody that just wants to stay home and watch TV.
Yeah,
That's not
especially at your
it's not.
age.
Yes, yes. And so he's quite a traveler. So we just got back from India and Nepal, which was quite
Wow.
an event. And last year we went to Machu Picchu in Peru. So
Wow.
my goal is to go to all the places that require more walking, especially up big mountains, and do that while
Yes.
I'm younger. 'Cause it's all
Well, you still
relative.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I still can because you know, there are people that go on cruise ships and we can do that later and you can bring your
Mhm.
walker and all that. But I'm not ready for that. I'm gonna
Yes.
try to keep traveling on our own, as long as we can.
Wow.
I
You're on
find
your
it really
70s.
interesting.
You're
I'm
already on your
72.
70s, 72. Imagine that. And
Yeah,
still walking, still traveling. For others who are at your age, for sure, they have already probably rested. They don't want to travel anymore and they don't have a passion. I mean, they just probably just gave up on life, but
right.
you
Well,
knowing that this happened during their 60s, right? I mean, the divorce happened during your 60s. It's amazing that you were able to come up with something that you can do, a passion of yours, which is writing, and actually making it
right.
humorous and positive. There's a silver lining after all.
Right. Well, I would tell people about, my friends would know what was going on and they would start laughing and they'd say, well, you ought to write that down and stuff like that. Because it is encouraging to, I think, for other people. Because
Mhm.
the thing that I think that's maybe different from me compared to the people that just go, woe's me and my life's
Mhm.
over. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of women like that.
Yeah.
Their spouse dies or they get a divorce and they're
Mhm.
older and they think, oh, their whole life was wrapped up in there. Well, maybe it
Mhm.
was, but you can wrap yourself up in your own life.
Yeah.
And for me, it ended up being like the best thing he could have ever done because it gave me the freedom without
Wow.
all the responsibility of taking care of him all the time. And I
Yeah.
could go do the things I want. But I think the thing that was different about me is that I approached it differently. Instead
Mhm.
of and I can tell you a therapist helped me with this.
Mhm.
So instead of looking at what I lost, because that's where most people get stuck, I
Mhm.
looked at, well, what I gained,
Yeah.
and I mean, you have to stretch in the beginning.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was things like, well, I can sleep in the bed by myself and I can sleep sideways because I don't have to share it. I can stay up late or I
Yes.
can eat bed or I can
Yes.
sleep in and I don't
Yes.
have to do somebody else's laundry. And if I want to go to a movie, I just get up and go.
Yeah.
So it gave me a lot of freedom, but it's all about and life in general is all about how you look at it. And that's
Yeah.
been a real journey for me.
Mhm.
Some people may have heard this. It's when you quit saying life or these bad things are happening to me, that's like makes it sound like you're suffering. If you
Mhm.
start saying it like this is happening for me, like even though it might be
Mhm.
considered a not so good thing, it's
Mhm.
happening for me because it's trying to teach us something. It's trying to teach
Mhm.
us a lesson and show
Wow.
us that we can grow and we can overcome it.
Wow.
And I want to encourage women that you really, really can do anything you want if you put your
Mhm.
mind to it. Now, that doesn't mean you just sit and hope. You actually have to have a plan and put it into action.
Mhm.
But to give you an example, after a few years after the split with my husband, after I figured out my finances and realized I wasn't going to be a bag lady, then I
Mhm.
started doing more work on myself as far as getting physically fit and
Wow.
I joined a women's boot camp. And then after that, um, they started having us walking and then running and jogging a little bit. And then one of my friends encouraged me to join a running team that she was on, and it was for people
Wow.
over 50. And I was, I think, 62 or three. And
Wow.
so I started running, and of course, everybody else is like around 50, men and
Yeah.
women, and I'm and I'm, older, but they were really good to me and they really, really pushed me. And I can't tell you, like, it was really, really hard. Like, had to run every week, practice twice a week. And I'm talking 70 miles a week because I used to have to
Amazing.
log it. So what happened was they talked me into the running. Then they
Yeah.
said, well, why don't you come with us to a track meet? And I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. And they said, just come and just see what it's like. So they actually told me, you might meet some guys, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the track meet and so I got in. It's not like there's a million people there. So I got in the top 3, which means that you qualify
Wow.
to go. And if you enter enough track meets, you can qualify to go to nationals. So everybody on our team was qualified to go to nationals, and I think there was
Amazing.
7 of us.
Wow.
And so they're trying to talk me into it, and then I'm like, all right, I'll go. So it ended up that I was the only one that went because people either got sick, they had family obligations, or they couldn't get off work. One guy forgot to sign up. That was probably the lamest excuse. But anyway, it ended up just me and my coach going. And so I ran the 800 meter, which is 2 times around the track, and the 1500 meter, which is about 4 times around the track.
Wow.
And in those 2 events, I got in the top 10 in the nation. And I thought that was pretty darn good at 65 for somebody who
65.
was never a runner.
Yes.
And it was really a lot of work. But
Yeah.
I hung up my shoes after that because like it was all encompassing. But it proved to me, I mean, besides showing other people that you can do this, it proved to me that I really could do anything I wanted. Now, whether or not you want to put that time and effort in there, that's another thing. So now, I figured I'd rather have a life, like be able to go on a date maybe, or be able to go on a trip maybe. So there's trade-offs, but it's still, so people shouldn't give up. Just because they have a hard turn in life, there's a lot they can do. And if you really want to be inspired, read books from people that had really, really traumatic things, like losing a limb or getting burned all over or having some other tragic accident or disease, and they still get up and go. So it's something you have to cultivate in yourself, whether it's getting motivated or encouraged by other people, or just spending quiet time alone and dissecting your life and saying, well, this is happening and I don't like it. What could I do to change it? Whereas most people they get stuck in the victim mindset and they just go, woe's me, woe's me. And you'll do much better if you realize who of your friends are like that. And then you just distance yourself because they're not going to help you they're not going to help you grow. They're going to keep you stuck. And sometimes you can point it out to them. They call it Debbie Downer. And if you have a friend that's a Debbie Downer, you can try to be a little more encouraging and stuff like that. And but if it doesn't work, go find somebody else. I'll give you an example. So one time I was going to go to a book fair, the LA book fair, which is about 4 hours away, and you have to drive in this really horrendous traffic. And I'm not crazy about that. So I signed up for this thing, and it's out of town. I've got to drive there. I got to stay at a hotel, and I've got all my books packed up in the car. And it's a good thing nobody was going with me because I don't think there would have been any room left. Because you have to put in
there's a lot of books,
a wagon and all your books, and then your suitcase and your clothes and all this stuff.
Of course.
So I get the car all packed up, and of course I'm hours late. So I thought I'd like leave at 1, and it was 5 p.m. on a Friday. So I get in my car and it won't start. It won't start. And I just took it to the shop. It's a reliable car. I just, had it serviced, and I filled it with gas, and I even washed it. And I'm like, this is terrible. So I had to borrow my boyfriend's car at the last minute. So I had to take everything out and put it in his car. And so I was really miffed and in a bad mood. So I left late. And then when you go to LA, there's this part where they call it the grapevine, and it's really treacherous driving. And people were going crazy. You go up this hill and people are coming over here, and it's getting dark. And anyway, I was freaking out. So I was quite upset. Then I sat back and looked at it, and I said, thank goodness the car didn't start at my home.
Yeah,
What if I would have
that's
been on the
right.
trip and it did that? So it was
Yeah,
really a blessing, but it's looking at things differently like that
yeah,
instead of going, this was bad, this was bad, because it was bad and I was really
yes,
scared
yes,
and
yes,
uncomfortable. But at least, I was safe
yeah.
and I didn't get hurt or anything,
Hmm.
and it was just an inconvenience. It wasn't, anything else. So,
Yeah.
but people need to really learn how to adapt that positive mindset, and it takes
Hmm.
practice. After a while,
Hmm.
you can you can shift, and it'll become automatic. Because what I
Right.
found out later is that the human condition is always to be judging and complaining and
Wow.
and
Hmm.
saying what's not so good, whereas
Right.
we need to flip that script to make
Hmm.
it more about what's the good thing out of it or what's the blessing in it. And
Hmm.
um, because if you travel around like I did, like especially the recent trip to India and Nepal, there are a
Hmm.
lot of people in the world that are a lot less fortunate than us.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
true.
know what? They're some of the happiest people
That's true.
because they're
How
they're
ironic.
they yes. And it's not the fancy car, it's not the fancy house, it's not even having a lot of money and being able to go out on vacations or spend a lot of money eating
Hmm.
out. It's more about community and do you have enough? Are you taking care of each other? Are you safe? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have something to
That's
eat?
true.
And
Wow.
they're happy with that. So it shows that it's all in your mindset. And if you
That's
can get
true.
that on straight, then you can go do whatever you want in life.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
also
that's the sort of thing I'm hoping to encourage people about.
Yeah, I also read something somewhere that depression and anxiety comes from overthinking, and it's the perspective that we have on things. So your divorce became like a silver lining. There was a
Yes.
silver lining that you saw on that, and if other people would probably experience that, they would approach it differently, and they would probably be depressed and anxious. So it's really about perspective, and I think that's what keeps you young. Am I right? When there are things
No,
that
oh
maybe
yes.
yeah, that go down on us. We have to change our perspective into what's going to like what positive thing is this going to do to me. And writing this book is one of the things that made you happier, and you saw that
Mhm.
life doesn't actually start at 40. It actually starts at 60. And for you,
Right.
that's a proof, right?
Right. And it's never too late to live your
Never
best
too
life.
late.
I mean, you might even be 70, 80, or 90. I mean, my idea is it's never too late
Hmm.
unless it's your last breath. Then I guess you're gonna have to call it quits. But until then, just keep going. Now you
Yeah.
might change your goals or adjust your dreams a little bit, but
Hmm.
you can still shoot. What is it they say? Shoot for the stars, and you might only get to the
Yeah.
moon, but at least you're
Yes.
shooting. You're getting out. You're doing something.
Doing something.
But
That's
yes,
right.
it's
But yeah, I'm interested about the volume one, two, three. Of course, this is what it encompasses, like living the life, being divorced, 60, and doing something. And you used writing as a passion, and also to let others know about how they would cope with divorce. And it's not just
right.
about divorce, right? It could be anything
It
that
could be
would
anything. It could
rain
be
down
that
on
you
you.
lose your spouse to a
Yeah.
death, or it could
Yes.
be that you lose your spouse because you're just not on the same team anymore.
That's true.
And it's not to advocate divorce, it's to advocate that you can still get what you want out of life, even if you
Yeah.
want to stay married.
Moving
Um,
on.
the
Yeah.
so the first book is Live the Life You Have Imagined.
Hmm.
The second one is the journal, companion
Hmm.
journal. The third one is Single and 60. And then
Wow.
the fourth one that I have written, and I'm going to edit it and get it finished so I can release it next spring with the help of
Hmm.
Explora Books, is called The Single Woman's Guide to Happiness.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
I want to put a few more maybe chapters or something in it because
Hmm.
I've lived a little since I wrote it. I've lived a few more years, and I think I have a little bit more guidance. But
Hmm.
contrary to what some people think, you don't need a man to be happy.
That's
It
true.
might enrich your life, but you need to really work on yourself first and decide
Hmm.
what's important. Because
That's
one
true.
thing I found when I was dating is especially because I was running then, and so I was super fit, is I didn't want to even go out with anybody that obviously hadn't ever seen the inside of a gym. And I didn't want to even go have coffee with anybody that wasn't remotely interested in travel, because those kind of things are important.
Yeah.
And then once you know what you want out of life and you start creating that kind of life for yourself, then you're a lot better able to pick what kind of partner really is going to fit with you.
Yeah.
Like being a woman growing up in the 50s, a baby boomer, it was kind of ingrained in us that, the woman should do all the cooking and the cleaning and stuff like that. Well, I've been there, done that. That didn't really satisfy me. And it just really makes you, when I look back, I feel kind of like I was an indentured servant. So I know that I don't want to have a partner that expects that, because I have more to offer than that. Like pay a cleaning lady, and I mean, I keep things picked up, but I don't want to do any deep cleaning or deep, heavy yard work. My time is better spent doing something else that I enjoy more. And I don't mind doing those things. It's just I'd rather pay someone else to do it. And if you get your life squared away, you can figure out how to pay for that.
That's
So
amazing.
I want to have a partner that's on the same page. Like he's not sitting around watching TV and expecting me to do everything. And that's not going to work. I'm going to try not to make the same mistakes again, set
And
up
of
the
course,
same expectations.
yeah, this is like going out of the standard that society tells us, right? The society is
Right.
often telling us that you have to get married at a certain age. I think this book applies even to the 20s and the 30s. What are you going to expect? Because these women, especially women my age or younger, I'm already 36, but the younger women who are still single and looking for a man, for example, they have such a standard in mind that was ingrained and into their system, and that is to get married at a certain age, have children at a certain age, and you're gonna retire at a certain age, and that doesn't work all the time. You have to be
Right.
very flexible with what life gives you. And this book is something that not only those who are suffering are in pain or just got a divorce, but it could be for women in
Right.
general. Am I right?
Right. That's correct. In fact, my son, who's in his 30s, he said, Mom, why are you saying this book is for women 50 and over? He says, anybody can read this book and it can
Yeah.
help anybody. So I do think that's true. It's just that was who we tried to market it for, because we could really see a need in that area.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
true.
more people it's interesting that you said this about that you're in your 30s and women are still struggling with this, because the more people I go around, women that are in their 30s and 40s, they admit that they still feel like they're expected to do everything. The only thing is now they're also expected to work outside the home and take care of the kids. And it's hard to find a partner who's on board with helping.
Yeah.
That doesn't, they think they're helping the wife. Well, actually, it's their family. So it shouldn't be an extra, gee, give them a big pat because they help do the laundry or they help fix dinner. It's like, who do you think's been doing all this? Like the laundry fairy or what?
Yeah.
And so I do think everybody struggles with it. And it's a process of learning, but the sooner you learn it, you learn how to handle things, the sooner you can make those changes. Now, sometimes your partner might not be on board with it. Like
Yeah.
if you learn to set boundaries, like I can't do this or that, that's too much on my plate. You'll need to help with this, or you'll need to take on this responsibility. And you'll find out if your partner is going to give and take. And if they're not, I mean, I'm not encouraging divorce, but I wish that somebody would have given me permission instead of society saying, no, you got to be on your deathbed to get a divorce, or they have to leave you or do something horrible. I wish someone would have given me permission, because most of us knew early on, like it was more just being married to save face, or you don't want to disappoint your family or society. And I think that in some circumstances, it's better to get a divorce sooner. If you know what you want and you're not a match with your partner, you better just cut your losses, and then you have a chance to make a life that you want. So you don't end up being, 50, 60, 70, or 80, and then trying to find another spouse
Yeah,
or
I think
find another partner.
one of the reasons why they have this, they're very adamant about or doubtful about taking a step towards divorce is because of the fear of being
Yes.
disconnected. And of course, there will be issues about where the custody is for the children. In your case, how did you navigate all those challenges of fear, being in a divorce state and having the custody, the properties especially? I mean, was it written on the book how you cope with it?
Well, I think for me, it helped that my children were older, so there wasn't any
Yeah.
custody issues.
Okay.
Because I do see that in other people I know, and that's a big problem. I
Mhm.
just think, like, I'm just not one to give up. And I would say that was probably one reason that I stayed married so long, is
Mhm.
because I kept trying to fix everything.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it's good to have that level of perseverance, but in other
Mm.
cases, I'm learning that there's time to let go of things.
There's limits,
Um,
yes.
for me, I just wouldn't accept failure.
Mm.
So when the choice about the divorce was taken from me because he
Mhm.
left and he wasn't coming back, then
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything about that, but I could do something about what was going to be the result. And I wasn't
Mm.
going to, like, I was worried I'd be a bag lady or something. And I look back at that now and I go, well, that's kind of ridiculous. But there was real fear
Yeah.
in on my part. But I was determined to do whatever I had to do to avoid that.
Mm.
And I do think it's important for women to know what's going on in their family finances so that they can be prepared. Um, because if you don't even know anything about your finances, you don't even know
Mhm.
what to ask for when it's time to split everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But I wasn't very fortunate in that I owned a piece of property before we got married, and I
Mm.
took that lump sum and parlayed it into other buildings. So they're considered separate property.
Mhm.
So I didn't ever commingle the funds from that
Mm.
small investment. And over 35 years, that could really grow. So and that's not required that's not community assets.
Right,
So
right.
if I would say any women that contemplate getting married and they have some assets, you need to keep it in a separate account, seek legal
Mm.
advice, and they can tell you all that. But once you
Mhm.
commingle it, it's community property, and you're
Yeah.
out of luck. And that way you can keep yourself afloat
Mhm.
if you need to when you have some extra funds. Because the way it is these days, it takes two people working to be able to afford a home. And
Mhm.
then if you get a divorce, then you're living in an apartment with roommates. And
Mhm.
if you're a retirement age and you split, you know, who knows who you're going to end up living with just to
Yeah,
survive if you
that's
only
true.
have half the income. You might be living in a studio apartment because
Yeah.
you're if you're that old, your parents are probably dead, so you can't go live with them.
Mhm.
But maybe you go live with your kids. I don't know. But it's something about women need to make sure they take care of themselves and
Yeah,
they
that's
know what's
true.
going on with finances, and so they can protect themselves, because it
Yeah,
is
and
scary. It is scary, the monetary part, once you retire,
yeah,
because it's like who's going to hire you when you're 65? I mean,
yeah, that's
you can
true.
get a job at Walmart as a greeter maybe, but that's not going to you're still not going to be able to
Sustain.
live in a nice home.
Yeah,
You'll be lucky if you have a roommate and you live in
that's true.
a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah,
So
that's true. I think what's important there in your message is that women should be independent, regardless whether or not they have a partner. If they have a partner, then good. But be prepared for anything. Am I right?
yes.
Preparation financially, physically, emotionally. And as early as maybe 20s, 30s, they have to learn the perspective that you have, which is to always be positive. I think one thing that makes people depressed and have anxiety is because they always see things or see life so positively. I mean, they feel that life is perfect, and it's not perfect. You just have to prepare yourself for the worst. And when you're
Yes,
prepared, when the storm comes, am I right? I mean, you're
right.
resilient, resilient
Then you
to
can
everything.
navigate it a lot better.
Wow, that's
Right.
beautiful. And look at
That's the key.
and look at you, you're 72, still so active. You're enjoying your life. For some people who are in their 70s, personally, I cannot imagine being 70 or 80. I'm not sure what's going to happen to me. But I think physical health is also as important as mental health. The mental health
Yes,
aspect is how you see things in a positive light, while the physical health is also in sync, should be in sync with your
yes,
mental health, physical health. So there is a balance, right? And I think this book
yes,
clearly states what you need to do when things go bad and what happens when you're old. Old is subjective, but when you reach a certain age, 60, 70, that's a beautiful book that you've written. So for all our Explora bookworms, I invite you to scan the QR code on your screen. We have the volume one. We're gonna display the volume one here once this one's edited. A volume one of Single and 60. There's a workbook, which is the volume two. The good thing about a workbook or a how do you what do you call it?
Actually,
It's a workbook,
Single and
right?
60 is the third book in the series. So the
Okay.
first book is Live the Life You Have Imagined. It's
Live your life, you
simple
have
ways
magic.
to start living your best life. The
Mhm.
second book is a companion journal that goes with the first book. And
Yeah.
then Single and 60 is the third book.
Mhm.
That's the one we're talking about today. And then the upcoming book will be A Single Woman's Guide to Happiness, and that'll
Yeah.
complete the series.
So those are the
So,
QR codes. And the series is called the Live Your Best Life series. Living Your Best
yes.
Life, 4 volumes. The fourth is still coming up. So ladies and gents, Explora bookworms, go to explorabooks.com, and in very soon we're gonna debut the Single and 60 book 4, or the volume 4 of Janie Jurkovich. Janie, thank you for your time. Please leave us a message for all the audiences right now. I know that it will take time for them to get copies of the 3 volumes of your book, but for sure there is a core message. What if you have to compress the 3 books into a message, what would that be? And
Well,
tell
I would
everyone
say
about it.
it truly is never too late to start living your best life. And if you want some encouragement, I would go to janiej.net, and I have videos and blogs, and you
Mhm.
can sign up for a newsletter. And also, all the books are on Amazon. So, and they're all in, the workbook's not in audio, but the other
Mhm.
2 books are in audio, Kindle, and paperback. So
Wow.
whatever is your way of digesting a book, we have something for you.
Wow. Live your best life. And, whether you're 30s or in your 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s or 80s, whatever age you are
Yes.
at right now, you can live your best life. Be positive, just like Janie here, and she's living the best life. Congratulations. And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show too.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeannie, for your time. Again, the QR codes are displayed on your screen. Scan it, and on the description box or the captions of this video, you can check out the links of the 3 books, Single and 60, and the other volumes, volume 1, 2, and 3 of the Live Your Best Life series. They're now available on Amazon. Grab your copies now. Thank you, Jeannie, for your time, and see you again soon here at Explora Talks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.